Welcome back. Should leftist groups be ashamed when thugs get money but victims get blamed? True, it appears GoFundMe backers can only help attackers. GoFundMe, the website where I pretend to raise money for orphans, is being called out for hosting a fundraising page for a gunman after deleting one for a New York bodega clerk who fought off and killed an attacker. Andrew Sundberg, who had fired shots into an apartment of a young mother and her 2 kids, was killed by cops after a 6-hour standoff last week. A few days later, the mother confronted BLM protesters who'd gathered outside her home to decry the cops.
That man was armed. George Floyd was not armed. Breonna Taylor was not armed. This man intentionally tried to kill us. For 3 years I lived here, and none of you guys knocked on that man's door to see if he was okay. There was casings in the hallway. The shot went through my door to the pillar to the kitchen. I was cooking food for my kids. Y'all should have came and helped him when he was alive. My kids have to see you guys celebrate a man's life that tried to kill him.
There you go. Woo. Not bad. Arabella Foss-Yarbrough, a woman of color, was shocked to learn that not wanting to be murdered along with her children makes her a white supremacist. Now, while that was happening, the GoFundMe page for the guy who shot at her raised over 20 grand. Now, compare that to the page for the bodega worker Jose Alba, who killed an ex-con in self-defense and then got charged with murder. Apparently, he's the only murder suspect activists aren't defending. His fundraiser was yanked shortly after it was posted because the company says they prohibit fundraising for the legal defense of a violent crime. In other words, there's different rules for a guy defending himself and a guy who nearly killed a mom and 2 young children. But sanity prevailed. On Tuesday, Manhattan DA Alvin Bragg dropped the murder charges against Alba after an investigation found they couldn't prove he wasn't justified in his use of deadly physical force. But don't pat Bragg on the back. He may charge you for attempted murder. Tyrus, what do you make of the mother shouting at the BLM protesters?
Well, luckily, this was actually caught on film because there's a lot of this from the community because they're not interested in any actual black person's plight or persons of color at all. They have just as much interest as a Klansman would. The difference was the only reason why they were there was because the words cop was involved. And that's the best way to get money. Once again, white cops killed an innocent brother trying to do his thing, and that's their narrative. And most people won't check facts. They won't look. They'll cut checks. And it's disparaging and it's crushing to see the exploitation of my own people by our own people, which seems to be more dangerous than any other group. They don't care if we kill each other. They won't buy a school computer for Chicago. They won't do a damn thing unless somehow it works its way to where they can get a mansion or they can get a plane. It's all about making money off the blood of our own people, and it's disgusting. Her fight, they didn't care.
Yeah.
And this part in the video, we saw her. There's a reason why she's screaming. She was being surrounded. And you look at the video and the protest, don't touch me, don't get in my face. You're in front of her house. Her children were in that car.
Yeah.
This is a sister, and you did not care because the woke don't listen to reason and facts. Their narrative was another white cop did something, and they didn't care what the facts were. And they are anticipating and expecting that most of, not us, not because we know what's up. They expect most white Americans to hear that and get the guilty thing going and not say anything and cut checks and apologize for white privilege when they're exploiting all that. So hopefully that might not have been her intention. I think all she wanted to do is get her children inside who had been through hell. Those kids will never be the same again. Inadvertently, this might be the thing that makes America wake up. Stop writing checks to Black Lives Matters. Stop donating to. You want to do something? Buy a laptop for a school. Become a big brother. Become a foster parent. If you really care, you want to do something for your community and people in your community, but stop giving money to this because you are supporting hate and division because that's all that they're about.
Well, I've tried to be a big brother, but they won't let me.
It's a height restriction. It's not your fault.
Adam, what do you make of this?
I think I found my next nanny. I like the cut of this woman's jib. I would hire her to do anything.
Yes.
She is what I call a crackerjack.
Yeah.
And by the way, she emotes better than any actress I've seen in the last 40 years on the silver screen. She's got it. I hope somebody sees her and throws the best job at her.
That was funny. I was thinking the same thing because I think I saw the clip like on a phone and I didn't really get it all. Then I'm looking at her and I'm like, she's got something.
She's got it.
Yeah, she's got it. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I thought this Black Lives Matter thing was sort of done when they bought the $6 million house and paid the brother $850,000. It's always a grift. It never helps. It's insane that they can keep it, Al Sharpton or whomever. This grift, they can go for 50 years on this grift. Nothing changes. I mean, the mayors of a lot of big cities go right along with the ride on the grift. More kids killed every year. Still, folks, even Merrick Garland, and it's insane that as a country we're able to go along on this grift. And I think it's the large group of scared people in the middle who just don't want any problems. When the whole black box Twitter thing came on, I was told on my podcast, like my producer said, "Oh no, you got to do it," and I said, "I'm not doing it." They said, "No, you have to, or we'll get into trouble." And I said, "Do you agree with it?" And he said, "It doesn't matter."
Yeah,
and
it does matter.
That's where we're at: scared people getting in line, going along, and not pushing back.
Mm-hmm. Kat, you're an expert in fundraising. Explain to me how GoFundMe can do this. They can, I don't know. I just came up with a question. That doesn't make any sense.
Great job. I guess they can do sort of whatever they want. Mm-hmm. But I mean, watching that video, I don't know how you could not be affected by it. Because, of course, I mean, look, if we get body cam footage, maybe the cops, they could have done something more other than shoot the guy. Who knows? It doesn't change the fact that this guy was shooting into an apartment with a woman and her kids in it earlier than that. And it's deeply wrong and clearly and obviously wrong to post up outside where she and her kids are and be celebrating the guy who was shooting at them, regardless of anything else that happened. And I just think that this is what happens when you decide the narrative first before anyone knows anything. I think that if you really cared about these issues, you'd want to make sure that you're really throwing your support around, behind ones that are worthy of support and not celebrating this could have been murderer in front of a woman and her kids.
Last word, Morgan. What say you? It can be about Meghan Markle if you like.
That's okay. I'm sure Meghan Markle would like the segment to be about her. What's really interesting to me is we have the bodega worker, or how did Joe Biden call it, the bodega worker, who they dropped the charges today, but he had to post $250,000 in bail for defending himself. Mm-hmm. And so when you look at major cities around America, you have small business owners who are seeing their businesses since 2020 burned to the ground, or they're having criminals come in and stealing things. I mean, there's not a day that you don't see on Twitter. Yeah. I think I just saw yesterday in LA where they were stealing watches and purses. And so I feel for small business owners, especially in the retail space around America. This guy was going to get killed, self-defense, and then because it's not politically correct,
by the way,
he gets charged with murder. Thank God it got dropped.
Everything was dropped, and that wasn't because of Alvin Bragg. It was because of the public outcry. The New York Post putting stuff on the cover, Fox covering. I mean, it was like, that's what people have to do now. They can't rely on their politicians. You got to do it yourself. Get out there and yell as loud as they are. Except for me, I'm lazy. I won't go anywhere.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.